My husband and his mother left me in the emergency room with a broken leg. Insurance doesn't cover gold diggers, they laughed. What they forgot was that I controlled all their medical decisions, and had just cancelled their platinum health plans. The pain in my leg was nothing compared to the shock of watching my husband Trevor and his mother Patricia walk out of the emergency room, leaving me stranded on a gurney with a compound fracture. "Sorry, Melissa," Trevor had said with a shrug that belonged on a stranger, not the man I'd been married to for 8 years. "Mom says the insurance won't cover you anymore. Something about dependents and eligibility. You'll have to figure this out yourself." Patricia had leaned over me, her Botoxed face attempting what might have been a smile. "Maybe this will teach you to contribute something to this family besides spending my son's money. Emergency rooms take payment plans, dear. Good luck." And then they were gone, their designer shoes clicking against the hospital linoleum as they abandoned me like trash on the sidewalk. The nurse who'd witnessed the entire exchange looked horrified. "Ma'am, did they really just leave you here?" I laughed, though it came out more like a sob. "Apparently so. Could you hand me my phone? I need to make some calls." What Trevor and Patricia didn't realize, what they'd never bothered to understand in their certainty that I was just a gold digger, was that I'd spent the last 8 years not just being a housewife, but being the family's unofficial medical coordinator. When Trevor's father William had his stroke 3 years ago, I was the one who'd navigated the healthcare system, managed his care, and eventually, at the family's request, been named medical power of attorney for all 3 of them. "It's just easier," Patricia had said at the time, waving her manicured hand dismissively. "You're home all day anyway. Might as well make yourself useful handling all that paperwork." They'd signed the documents without reading them, too important to bother with details, too confident that I'd always be there to handle the messy, unglamorous work of managing their health while they enjoyed their country club lunches. My first call wasn't to a lawyer or a friend, it was to Marcus Chen, the insurance broker who'd helped me understand the Byzantine complexity of the Sterling family's various health plans. "Melissa, how's the family?" Marcus asked cheerfully. "About to get a harsh lesson in contract law," I replied. "Marcus, I need you to pull up all the Sterling family policies, every single one. Is everything okay? You sound..." "I'm sitting in the ER with a broken leg. My husband and mother-in-law just abandoned me here because they think I'm not covered anymore. They said something about dependent eligibility." Marcus was quiet for a moment. That's not how insurance works. You're the primary on half these policies. Trevor's only covered as your spouse on the platinum plan through your consulting work." "Ah yes, my consulting work." The Sterling family joke. What they called my part-time healthcare advocacy business. The one I'd started after navigating William's stroke. They thought it was a hobby, a little project to keep me busy. They had no idea I'd built it into a thriving practice that generated enough income to qualify for top-tier corporate insurance rates. "Can you send me a summary of all the policies?" I asked. "And Marcus? Flag which ones I have administrative control over." "All of them," he said immediately. "You're the authorized representative on every Sterling family policy. Have been for 3 years, don't you remember?" Patricia insisted on it after William's situation. I smiled despite the pain. "Perfect. I need you to process some changes." While Marcus worked his magic, I called my second contact, Dr. James Howard, Chief of Staff at St. Mary's and one of my healthcare advocacy clients. "Melissa, what brings you to our humble ER?" "Broken leg and a sudden case of marital abandonment," I said. "Jim, I need a favor. Can you check who's listed as medical power of attorney for Trevor Sterling and Patricia Sterling?" "Give me a second." I heard typing. "You are." "For both of them. Also for William Sterling, though I see he passed last year. I'm sorry for your loss." "Thank you. One more thing, can you see what insurance they're currently carrying?" More typing. "Interesting. Looks like there are some changes processing. As of about 10 minutes ago, Trevor Sterling has been moved from Platinum Plus to Basic Bronze. Same with Patricia Sterling. Their coverage now has a $15,000 deductible and doesn't include preferred provider access." "How unfortunate," I said. "I hope they don't need any medical care soon." Dr. Howard chuckled. "Melissa, remind me never to get on your bad side. Also, I'm sending someone down to take care of you properly. Compound fracture? Tibia. Clean break though. We'll get you sorted. And Melissa, whatever those idiots did to you, they're going to regret it." He had no idea how right he was. The next few hours passed in a blur of x-rays, pain medication, and surgery prep. My leg was worse than I'd thought. I'd need pins and at least 1 surgery, possibly 2. The bills would be astronomical without good insurance. Good thing I had excellent insurance. In my own name, through my own business. I was coming out of anesthesia when my phone started buzzing. 17 missed calls from Trevor, 23 from Patricia. I ignored them all and called my attorney instead. Diana, it's Melissa Sterling. I need you to prepare divorce papers, and I want you to review all the medical power of attorney documents I hold for the Sterling family. Finally coming to your senses? Diana had been my attorney since I'd started my business. She'd watched the Sterling family dismiss and belittle me for years. What triggered it? I explained the abandonment at the hospital. Diana's language turned colorful. They left you? With a broken leg? Because they thought, oh, this is precious. They really don't know, do they? Know what? That you're worth more than all of them combined? Your business cleared what last year? $400,000? $480,000. I corrected, but the Sterlings think it's just a hobby. They've never asked, never looked at tax returns, never wondered how we afforded the platinum insurance. The platinum insurance that covers them as your dependents? Not anymore, I said. They wanted to cut me off? I obliged. They're on bronze plans now. Seems only fair. Diana laughed. I'll have those divorce papers ready by tomorrow. What about the medical power of attorney? Keep it for now, I decided. Something tells me I might need it soon. I didn't have to wait long. The next morning, as I was learning to navigate crutches, Patricia burst into my hospital room like an avenging angel in Chanel. What have you done? She shrieked. I went for my Botox appointment and they said my insurance was declined. Some nonsense about a bronze plan? Good morning to you too, Patricia, I said calmly. How unfortunate about your Botox. I guess you'll have to pay out of pocket. I hear it's about $3,000 per session. You did this. You vindictive little. I did exactly what you wanted. I interrupted. You made it clear that gold diggers don't deserve good insurance, so I removed myself from your policies. Unfortunately, since you were covered as my dependents, that affected your coverage too. Her face went from red to purple. Fix it. Now. No. I'll have Trevor divorce you. Already happening. Diana's drawing up the papers. Oh, and Patricia? You might want to be careful with that blood pressure. Your new insurance doesn't cover emergency cardiac events very well. $15,000 deductible, I believe. She actually clutched her chest. You can't do this. We'll sue. For what? Managing my own insurance policies? Removing dependents during a separation? That's all perfectly legal. Trevor appeared in the doorway, out of breath. Mom, don't, Melissa. We need to talk. No, we don't, I said. You made your position clear when you left me in the ER. Insurance doesn't cover gold diggers, remember? That was Mom's idea, he protested. I wanted to stay, but you didn't. You chose her over your injured wife, and now you're both choosing to live with the consequences. What consequences? Trevor demanded. My phone buzzed. Perfect timing. I glanced at the message from Marcus, then looked up with a smile. Well, for starters, your prescription refills were just denied. Patricia, that includes your heart medication and diabetes supplies. Trevor, your anxiety meds and that expensive testosterone therapy? Not covered. You'll need to pay out of pocket and submit for reimbursement. But I need those medications. Patricia gasped. Then you should have thought about that before abandoning me, I said. By the way, how's your arthritis? Still seeing Dr. Pemberton at the specialist clinic? Because bronze plans don't cover specialty care without a referral. Could take weeks to get approved. Trevor sank into a chair. Melissa, please, we made a mistake. We're sorry. You're sorry you're facing consequences. I corrected. Not sorry you left me. There's a difference. What do you want? Patricia asked desperately. Money? The house? What? I want you to experience exactly what you tried to do to me, I said. Navigate the healthcare system without help. Pay inflated prices. Wait in general clinics instead of seeing preferred specialists. Feel powerless and abandoned by the very system you thought would protect you. But you have medical power of attorney, Trevor exclaimed. You have to help us. I laughed. Actually, I don't. Medical power of attorney means I make decisions if you're incapacitated. You're both fully conscious and capable. Figure it out yourselves. The next few weeks were poetic justice in motion. Patricia's routine Botox turned into a $3,000 expense she couldn't afford after the divorce froze Trevor's assets. Her arthritis flared without proper medication management. She spent hours on hold with insurance companies, navigating automated systems, begging for exceptions. Trevor fared worse. His anxiety spiked without medication, affecting his job performance. The testosterone therapy he'd been receiving for wellness cost $500 per month without insurance. He tried to use his father's connections to see specialists, only to discover that without proper referrals, even money couldn't buy immediate access. But the real karma came 3 weeks later. Patricia collapsed at her country club, clutching her chest, classic heart attack symptoms. The ambulance took her to the nearest hospital, not the preferred cardiac center she'd always used, but a crowded public hospital that accepted her bronze plan. Trevor called me from the ER, panicking. Mom's having a heart attack. They won't transfer her to St. Mary's without insurance pre-approval. You have to do something. I'm sorry, who is this? I asked innocently. I don't recognize the number. It's Trevor, your husband, ex-husband. I corrected. The divorce was finalized yesterday. Didn't you get the papers? Melissa, please, she could die. I sighed. Trevor, do you remember what you said when you left me in the ER? Figure it out yourself. So figure it out. Call the insurance company. Navigate the system. Advocate for your mother. You know, all those things I used to do that you called sitting around all day. I'll pay you, whatever you want. I don't want your money. I never did. I wanted a partner who wouldn't abandon me when I was hurt. That ship has sailed. Patricia survived. Barely. The public hospital provided adequate care, but not the VIP treatment she was accustomed to. The bills were astronomical, apparently. Bronze plans don't cover much for cardiac events. Trevor had to sell his Porsche to pay the deductible. The social fallout was equally delicious. Word spread through their country club about how Trevor had abandoned his injured wife, only to lose his insurance coverage. Patricia's friends whispered about her reduced circumstances, how she'd been seen waiting in general clinic waiting rooms like common people. My leg healed perfectly, thanks to excellent surgeons and comprehensive coverage. My business thrived, apparently. Being abandoned at a hospital gave me credibility in healthcare advocacy that money couldn't buy. Clients lined up to hire someone who truly understood the system from both sides. 6 months later, I ran into Trevor at a pharmacy. He was arguing with the pharmacist about a prior authorization for anxiety medication. It's been 2 weeks, he was saying. How long does prior auth take? Could be another week or 2. The pharmacist replied. Insurance companies take their time with bronze plans. I couldn't help myself. Having trouble, Trevor? He spun around, his face a mix of hope and shame. Melissa, how's your leg? Perfect. Amazing what good insurance and actual medical care can accomplish. Listen, I know things ended badly. Badly? I laughed. Trevor, you abandoned me at a hospital with a broken leg. That's not ending badly. That's revealing who you really are. Could you at least help with Mom? She's not doing well. The medications she needs. The specialists won't see her. She should have thought about that before calling me a gold digger. I said, before deciding I wasn't worth basic human decency. Your mother made her bed in a general ward. Let her lie in it. I started to leave, then turned back. Oh, Trevor, a word of advice. Next time you marry someone, maybe find out what they actually do for a living. Maybe discover they're not a gold digger but a successful businesswoman who is keeping your ungrateful family healthy out of love, not obligation. I know that now, he said quietly. I know exactly what we lost. No, I corrected. You know what you lost. I didn't lose anything. I gained freedom from people who never valued what I brought to the table until the table was gone. I left him there, still arguing about prior authorizations, still not understanding that the system he'd thrown me into was the same one I'd been protecting him from all along. Patricia never fully recovered, not just from the heart attack, but from the fall from grace. She went from the woman who got same-day specialist appointments to someone who waited weeks for basic care, from someone who laughed at others' misfortune to someone who experienced it firsthand. The last I heard, Trevor was working 2 jobs to pay off medical debt and living in a small apartment. He'd tried to remarry, a woman from the club who seemed perfect for the sterling family image. She left him when she discovered the true state of his finances and the family's medical situations. As for me, I'm thriving. My healthcare advocacy business has expanded to 3 states. I specialize in helping abandoned spouses navigate the system, teaching them to protect themselves before tragedy strikes. I've remarried to a doctor who volunteers at free clinics and understands that healthcare is a human right, not a privilege. Sometimes I think about that day in the ER, lying there with a broken leg, watching my husband choose his mother over me. It was the worst day of my life and the best thing that ever happened to me. It freed me from people who saw my value only in what I could do for them, never in who I was. They thought insurance didn't cover gold diggers. Turns out, it didn't need to. I had my own coverage all along. I just stopped sharing it with people who didn't deserve it. And somewhere in a crowded waiting room, Patricia Sterling is probably still waiting for her appointment, finally understanding that the real gold in our relationship was never money. It was the care I provided, the system I navigated, the protection I offered. Too bad she only realized it after I took it all away.